Hello and welcome to Perfectly Twisted. This is part 2 of our interview with Jillian Barberie. So if you missed last week's episode, you can definitely go back and give that a listen. Enjoy!
I will just say, it happens on both sides of that, but I'm finding the people that preach the most about family values and about this and that, and they're the fucking worst. Like, I got to tell you, I worked in very conservative radio, which I was like the outcast, but I would try to kind of bring some, I'm like, okay, so the left has gone so far left, it's insane. The right has gone so far right there, insane. It's like, where's the fucking common sense party? Oh, they don't exist. That's right. Okay. So working in that environment and hearing the stories with I've heard of a threesome. How about this guy's like, I had a sixsome over the weekend. Now, this is a very conservative person on air. And I'm like, a what now? And they're like, a sixsome. I go, what the fuck is a sixsome? They're like, it's a threesome double. I go,
it's an orgy, right?
Like,
I mean,
it's called an orgy.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we called it an orgy.
But,
yeah. And also the certain, and my daughter goes to Christian school, and I consider myself a good person I am a good person. I'm a good, like, for instance, if I would have hit and killed 2 boys, I would have stopped and said, mea culpa. I fucking can't believe I did that. I'm not going to trial. I did it. Put me in jail because I just ruined a mother's life. Okay. That's the type of person I am. I own up to my bullshit. And let me tell you something. I have seen so many, quote, family value Christians having fuck buddies on the side with the wife or the husband okay with it. I'm like, wait, excuse me. So I'm the liberal and you're the conservative, but you have this wild fucking, it just, the hypocrisy of it all bothers me so much. Just, if I am a good person, and I don't mean to judge anyone. If that's what you do in your marriage and you want to go on the side, that's fine. But don't preach that, your values and family values are better than anyone else's when you're fucking on the side. Yeah. Like, stop it. Just stop it. Or stop saying gay people are horrible and you're married with 5 kids and you're getting BJs on the side at a fucking airport. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. It makes me enraged. And I don't want to get political. I've been on both sides. I worked in extremely fun environment at Good Day LA. People say, how did you get away? I said, we just fucking told the facts. We didn't sit and like harp on stories. We would tell what was going on, and sometimes we joke around or whatever. We had a good time. But when I worked in very conservative radio, I found that everything was skewed. It was all skewed a certain way. I don't like that. I came from news where you just fucking report on what happened and nobody sits in. But CNN is skewed to the right and Fox is skewed to the left, or the right. Sorry.
Other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other way around. Yeah.
Yeah. And my dad up in Canada, thank God he can't vote. But he's like watching Fox News. I go, Dad, for fuck's sakes, like every time they get sued, they go, we're infotainment. We're not news. Dad, they're not news. Like, why the fuck did Bill O'Reilly have to pay $34 million? Like, what was there a mule involved? What the fuck prompted them to pay $34 million? And again, the conservative, that's what I've got a problem with. That kind of bullshit. I can't stand it. And Hollywood's full of it, as you know.
I'll tell it's, I think everyone in the United States, a lot of people are filled with it. It's like they hide behind religion. Because, they tell you can just be forgiven. So you can act terribly and then be forgiven 2 seconds later when you admit it to God. So whenever I'm on social media and people attack me, they attack me because they think that I made up the story about that on Charles in Charge. And they think it was politically driven because I did not realize he was a huge Trump supporter. It had nothing to do with it. And what people don't realize is I was raised very conservative. Each side has lost its mind. And I'm stuck in the middle. I'm alone here. There's no, just like, are we ever going to see anything on the ballot where there's somebody like us? Is there anybody in the middle? But I get attacked. And a couple times, I very rarely give these people my attention because I just know where they're coming from. But every single time it says God first in their bio. God first, love Christ. Always that in their bio. And they're
Patriot.
the meanest, nastiest. Go kill yourself, you ugly, this, that, and everything. You're disgusting. You're everything. And it's always a Christian person. And I'm like, what is it? What is this?
I think,
Bizarre.
I think,
And I'm not, and listen, I don't mean to say that about all Christian people. Don't get
no,
that
no,
twisted.
God, no.
I'm saying the haters are always have Christ in their bio. I am
Well, I
not saying
think,
Christian people are bad. It's just
no.
every
Yeah,
troll is,
no, I'm
is a Christian.
100% with you. It's always so obvious what's, where it's from. But I think that that person who ran the country opened the doors for that sort of hatred to
Behavior.
become Christian. Like, how does that
I
even,
know.
right? Like, it's so
Yeah.
bizarre.
It just
Um,
opened the door to be just your ugliest self,
Grab them by the pussy.
you know?
Christianity,
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is, and then Billy Bush, I talked to him. I ran into him at a restaurant and I go, dude, because I used to go on the show when he was on it with Kit, who say, this is amazing to me. You really didn't, I mean, you were fucking doing your job. Can you imagine Billy if he was like, excuse me, I work for NBC, we can't talk like that. And then they'd be like, what the fuck? You should have just let him talk, right? He gets fired for being on the bus with Trump. Trump becomes president. And I was sitting
Yeah.
looking at going, that's when I realized, I
Terrible.
go, oh, we're fucked. And, we're doubly fucked now because, I like my president's not indicted. When he said about John McCain, who I believe is a hero, when he said John McCain, I like heroes that don't get caught. I was like, oh, that's blasphemous almost. The man spent 5 years in a fucking cage and has a fucked up arm. No, he got more support the next day. I was stunned. And that's when I
Yeah.
realized, and I was working in conservative radio, I went, uh-oh, I felt a shift in the conservative party. And it really bothered me. And they would use rhino all the time, Republican in name only. And I'm like, but isn't it better that John McCain is across the aisle from Biden and they actually are friendly? They could make deals over napkins and cocktails over, at the bar, at various bars in DC. Those days are gone. There's so much hatred.
Yeah.
You've got the Lauren Bobarts and the fucking Marjorie Taylor idiots. And, they're like, I feel like they're like, I'm like, go make love to your gun. Like, shut the fuck up. And I'm
Yeah.
so over all the bullshit. Like, I was pro-life. I'm just gonna tell you this. Personally, I could never, ever have an abortion. I was pregnant twice and miscarried before I had my 2 kids. But these women and these laws now, they're saying if you're raped, you have to have the baby. If you're raped by your uncle, I'm sorry, I was molested as a kid by by family members. Not only are you're putting the child now, there's a 10-year-old who got pregnant, had to fly out of state and have an abortion. It's disgraceful. So now you're putting the child through 10 months of hell. Not only is she having a felon's baby, she's got to fucking live with that the rest of her life. And I'm adopted. So now if you put the baby up for adoption, you got all that fucked up shit in your head. They don't think about, nor do they care about what happens after the baby. It's a fuck off, as long as you have a baby. And I'm sorry, I was 10 and I was raped. And you're going to that's when the party, they lost their mind a long
Yeah.
time before that. But I was always pro-life. And when they came out with that, I said, I'll fucking move back to Canada. If you think, I know it's not in California, but if I lived in Texas and my 16-year-old daughter, God forbid, was raped by an uncle and got pregnant, I'm fucking out of here. This is bullshit. And anyone who believes that rape and having a baby, it's just a one day, it's not even a baby the next day. It's fucking cells that are moving around your bloodstream. I'm so
Right.
over it. Can you tell?
I know. Yeah. Listen, we all are. And also when they say like even if it's like a life or death, if the mother's life is in danger, you can't have the abortion. Yeah, you lost me. I'm pro life for myself too. Although
Yeah.
I did have an abortion when I was when I was young, and it was the right thing to do,
Yeah.
and did it very early, obviously. But after I had my first child, I was like, I am pro life. My sister was adopted. She had a child that she gave up for adoption because she was too young. So we are
What?
very much like in the life world, but that's for myself. That is not
Same.
for, yeah, right. It's
Same.
not for the girl who gets raped by her dad or by a girl
Oh
who
my.
gets raped from a psycho on the street, and now you have this demon
And
inside of you. I mean, it is just
yes,
that's
thank
so
you. A
wrong.
demon. And the other, it's not made out of
Yeah,
love, you morons. Like, it's made out of hate and violence.
yeah,
And it's not even made, for fuck's sakes. A lot of people don't even get pregnant the first time. How do you know? Like this morning after pill, how, uh, a lot of women try. My sister, birth sister, I found out my mom and dad, they had me at very 17 and then they got married at 18 and had 2 daughters. So I found my sisters, I hired a detective and found them. And my one sister, who's 6 years younger, she couldn't have a baby. I got pregnant at 40 and 42 without even trying. She ended up adopting. But so who's to say they're assuming you're pregnant, you get pregnant every time you're having, it's like they've lost their minds. But
They've
I,
lost it.
I,
Yeah.
I will say that, I'm like you on a personal note. I remember being 17 and I was pregnant. I told my daughter, and I just went to my parents and I was like, well, I'm adopted. And if my mother could give up 9 months of her life and give me away, I'm going to do the same thing. And I ended up miscarrying. And, I say God's, rejection. No, what do they say? Something is God's protection. Nature's rejection is God's protection. Whatever. Anyway, but if I were dying and
Yeah.
having a baby, or what they are using now is like this late term abortion, like where they actually have the baby and murder it. I'm like, well, first of all, I
Yeah.
don't know any fucking woman that would go through 9 months of a pregnancy and then murder a baby. Like, it's like you're going to give the baby up for adoption, or you're going to find some way to keep it, maybe through relatives. It's absurd. And I know that some doctors do perform, and I think it's pretty gross. As Dave Navarro, I love Dave. He said, we were talking about abortion one time, and I think he may have said this on Howard Stern. He said, if it has fists and a face, it's a baby. And I thought, God, Dave, like it's he in the sense he meant like that's a late term. That's really fucking over the top. But in the early stages, like you said, and if it's good, it alters people's lives completely. Plus they want to take all the help away for women who end up getting raped and having babies.
Yeah.
They don't want to help you afterwards, they just want you to have the baby. And now you can be on the
Yes,
street.
I
I
have
don't
a
give a
meme.
fuck.
I have a meme that I posted that's like it's a pregnant woman and they're yelling at her, you have to have this baby, you have to have this baby. And the second half of it is that she has the baby and she's asking for help and they're calling her like a deadbeat, go get a job. We're not going to support you.
Yeah,
You
100%.
sucker of the economy. Yeah, it's very true.
Yes.
Well, my sister, I took her to family planning and I said you should have an abortion. Like it's going to be the easiest thing. And so that was her plan. And she went in and she came back out and she said, but there's hands and fingernails. And I saw them. And so I said, oh, okay. And she had a folder of people that were looking to adopt. And when she saw the hands and the fingernails, she was like, okay,
Yeah.
no, this baby deserves life. And I'll gift another family that wants a baby with her. But
Oh,
listen, this did not go this wasn't all like pancakes and rainbows. It
yeah.
was like
Yeah.
she had the baby. I had to give the baby to the people. She cried. She lived with me after that, and I could hear her outside like sobbing and sobbing. And I mean, she had a really rough go of it for many years. She still struggles with it. You're mourning for the rest of your life. You really are.
What a selfless
Like you're
thing to do. I'm,
yeah.
as an adopted person, when I found my birth mother and my father, they asked me, do you hate us? And I said, what? No, I thank you for giving me that. Are you kidding me? Like, they were both immigrants from Europe and they came to Canada um, at 17, met and got pregnant. Like they were both from different parts of Europe, and it was just a very fast, but they ended up getting married, tried to do the right thing, tried to get me back, blah 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 bullshit, all the bullshit, red tape. But I was in foster families, and I will tell you that the people that adopted me were the exact people I needed to grow up with, because when I met my birth mom, she came to my house. And now, remember, she has 2 daughters with my birth dad, and she's remarried. Didn't tell that man from England that she had another daughter. So I'm like, surprise, ding dong, can't get rid of me. And so I was 34 when I found her, and she came to my door. And I just gotten off Good Day LA, so I was like, the Dolce and Gabbana get up, and she looks me up and down. First thing she says is, because she's got an accent, but she's like, oh my God, I gave the wrong one away. She has a great sense of humor, love to drink and party. And I'm like, oh shit, if I would have grown up with her, I don't think I'd ever have left Canada. Like, she was the party. So, and she died in my arms. It was very
Oh,
empowering. I know, it was beautiful. I'm writing a book actually about my life. And I said to the woman who's because I said, listen, I'm scattered. I have fucking thoughts everywhere, unfortunately. And And she said, no, no, you just tell me and I organize everything. I said, good luck. But that was one of the great experiences of my life. And I will tell you, she held me for 4 minutes. They let her. It was like the Catholic nuns, 60s, Canada, fucking nightmare. And they were very rude and mean to her because she was an unwed mother. And back in those days, oh dear
Oh,
God, you were looked down upon. And they actually had tags on the beds of the women that were in this maternity ward that were not married and were given, and they were treated, my mom said, my birth mom said, a certain way. And I felt bad for her. And again, she, same thing. When, thank God you were there for your sister. She was, my birth mother didn't tell anybody because she was so young, and she got picked a fight with her mother, and her mother had so many fucking kids. I don't even think she realized my mom was gone, and so she went to a home for unwed
oh,
mothers. In the 60s in Yorkville, Toronto, and then had me. And fucking 3 weeks later, she's back home. I saw a picture. I was like, you skinny bitch. She was back to her regular weight. She hardly gained any because she was paranoid the whole time. And she left when she was 6 months pregnant. But I will say that it is the most selfless thing I think a person can do. And it's done out
yeah,
of love. And the first thing I did was thank her for making that incredibly hard decision. It is, I commend her so much. And I hope, and I do know that for my birth mom, it was like you said, it's an internal kind of struggle. And I think for her, meeting, she married my dad, and she ended up drinking a lot and pilling. When she met me, it stopped. My sisters were astounded, and I think it's because I was that secret.
oh,
She
yeah,
told no one, not my sisters, not her husband. So when I came out, I was like, jazz hands, here I am, and you can't get rid of me. And they loved it. They're fucking circus freaks too. It was like we were all like meh, meh, meant to be. Um, and it just, I remember Howard Stern saying to me, I did Howard that morning, and I was flying back home to meet my sister, who was 21 at the time. Never met her. And he goes, I'll never forget Howard, because he has a certain thing about adoption. And Dave, you probably know, he's always like, oh, adopting
Yeah.
kids. And he said, why would you fly someone out of a family to meet you that didn't even want you to begin with? I said, oh, I started laughing. I go, I don't look at it that way. I thank them. They were so young. I'd be on the fucking streets, I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, I just, they were immigrants. They were 17. And he was perplexed. He's like, how, but why, but who, and who? It ended up being the best experience of my life. And so who knows what lay ahead. And rest assured, uh I feel like I want to give your sister a hug and tell her just thank you for all of us, like, for doing that. That is I, mm, that's the hardest thing. After I had my daughter, I held her and I started bawling because I realized the heaviness of it, like holding my daughter in the tub. And I'm like, oh my God, like this, I was like, and you just give the baby to the world and just hope for the best. And the best can happen because so many of these people are dying for babies and they just can't have them. So they treat
yeah, and
them
they
with
can't have
extra.
them.
Yeah. My sister
That's
adopted
right.
from Russia. And this kid now, he's like, he's just thriving. And wonderful things happen out of adoption. I can't
Yeah,
believe that, when I did get pregnant finally and have my kids, uh, I think that's when I truly started to understand the gift that she gave. Like, that's the biggest gift in the world, to give. And so when you give, you also give a little piece of your heart to it.
yes,
And you send it out. Well, in my mother's case, uh, it was a secret, and so it was internalized, and she never talked about it with anyone. So I was always like and and so when I came forth, she's younger than me. Gosh, she was like 50 when I met her. Um, it just changed her life in so many ways. My sister's told me she doesn't drink as much. She's happier. She's just more content. And I think it's because she kept me as a secret, because it was the 60s. Very different time from your sisters. I don't know if it was, they have these open adoptions now. They have different. For me, I would just want it closed and move on, because I don't know that I could do the halfway thing, but some people can. you know?
She did. My sister does. My sister just went to his high school graduation when he graduated. I think it was a year or two ago. Nope. So yeah, she knows him. He knows her.
Oh,
Yeah,
blows me
and
away. Blows
it's
me
a little
away.
bit hard. I think it's a little bit hard sometimes because the adoptive family gets a little bit protective, and a little bit funny. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't know what I would do because I think sometimes seeing them and it keeps it alive, right? It keeps that
I
feeling of missing them
I feel it
fresh
might be
all the
health.
time.
I feel it might be healthier that what your sister is doing. I was always the secret. I was always in the background as the she's adopted. I can remember cousins saying it and da, da, da. And you grow up, so it's just weird. I didn't even know my heritage. I didn't even know what nationality I was until I hired a detective. And I was 34 at the time. You grow up with just so many questions. So I think it's far healthier doing it your sister's way and having it open like I just do.
Yeah, I guess to each its own. To everybody has to make that decision for themselves. But they have scientifically proven now that when a mother gives birth to the baby's there's mother. They have found like that the cells live on. So that's why when you have like mother's intuition or you have these extra, that's why moms feel extra is because cells from the baby are left in your system. So it's so
Whoa.
complicado. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
That's
It, a
crazy.
lot goes into it. Yeah, and
I believe that. Holy
and to
shit.
circle back, people, those secrets will eat you alive. Those secrets will ruin your life.
Yep. That's why my mother
And
drank.
it's like the whole thing. Yeah, people, and because nobody wants to talk about it, people think that other people don't want to hear it or they are ashamed of,
Judged.
embarrassed of it. Yeah, judged. It's just, we finally we're at a place where we can talk about anything and everything. And I think it's
I
so
know.
healthy,
I was thinking that for gay people growing up. Like, I know some of them had Will and Grace. It was like, yay, finally a gay character. But now it's like, holy shit, I went to Ulta the other day and this guy's makeup was better. I was like, fucking on point, my friend. And, but I do
Yeah.
have conservative friends that are like, what? Oh, oh. And I'm like, hey, better than him doing something bad to himself because nobody accepts him. I don't care, man. As long as you're not hurting puppies and fucking murdering people like the
Yeah.
Manson family, I got no problem with how you live or what you do. It just doesn't affect me. I'm like,
Same.
you do
Yeah.
you. Be
I'm not
happy. Just
interested
don't
in who
hurt
you're
people. You know?
sleeping with. Yeah. I don't care what you wear, what you're who you're sleeping with. I could say the same thing about people who are against it. It's like, well, have you checked in the mirror lately?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck you're wearing? Not sure what you're better than. Yeah, people are nuts, but it's so good. And even like being able to talk about cancer now, because now
Yeah.
it's not even like it's not even such a weird thing. It's like who doesn't have it, who isn't affected by it in
I
some
have a
sort.
question for you, quick, Nicole, because I know that you guys do this hour show, but we've already gone over. Okay, when did you and how did you find? Mine was an inverted nipple. It wasn't a lump. It didn't hurt. How did you find out? Who told you? And what was your first? What was your thought? What happened?
Okay, I was scheduled for my mammogram already in December and October, and it started throbbing one day. Like I was having like a throbbing. In my armpits throb when I'm like on my cycle. Somewhere in my cycle, it would get like little throbbing. It was like that, but it was like consistent for like 24 hours. So I did self-exam in the shower and I felt it.
Wow.
So I immediately, yeah,
You're
and I'm an advocate for myself, man. My doctor couldn't see me for a couple weeks. I couldn't get the discovery mammogram for a month. So I was like walking into offices, just cold walking in there going, you need to see me. And
wow.
we got it off the ground. But yeah, I mean, that was the worst of it. It was discovering it and then waiting to find out like what the hell is it?
Whoa. That's
Yeah.
freaking hardcore.
Well,
Um did you end up having lymph node
I
cancers?
have 3 suspicious lymph nodes that they're looking at.
I remember telling her, look, I got 2 kids at home, 9 and 11, and just be as aggressive as you can, and let's just get it done with. And I told her, what would you do if I was your daughter, your sister, your mom, whatever. And she said, well, you have it in your right one. I would take both. So they did, and then it was in my lymph nodes. I've never had fake tits. And so they put it, I said the day on the gurney, I was like getting my operation. I go, I don't want implants. I don't. They're like, oh.
No.
Everyone's like, what? I was like, no, I don't want implants. No, no, no. You're going to be concave. Trust me, you got to get implants. And sure as shit, I get implants, and I got radiation after the implants, and it hardened it and
Oh,
migrating
yeah.
north. So
No,
I
you're not
just had
supposed
a
to do
10-hour
that.
What's that, Nicole?
Yeah, they were telling me because I do have implants, unfortunately. So that's what we're talking about. So when I have to have the radiation, you can't have implants. It needs to
That's
be
right.
clear.
100%. Because I don't know why they would do this to me, but they're like, they didn't even tell me that there was something called a deep flap surgery. So I ended up fucking getting it just recently, and it was, they said, a 6 to 8 week recovery, and I was like, okay, like I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so they go, do you have anyone at home? And I didn't want my daughter here again. She's in fucking high school. She's in plays. I don't want her seeing bed. Like, they've already seen me go through chemo. I said no. So the day after the surgery, it was a 10-hour surgery. They slice you hip to hip. They take, they put it, attach, take the implants out, put fat in, attach your blood vessels. Like, it's hardcore 10 hours. And I wake up in this thing called a bear hugger, and it's hot air being blown, like those, those things that like are outside gas
Yes,
stations, and they're like
the,
this.
the car
So
wash.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so I did it, and I'll tell you what, they said, well, you don't have anyone at home, right? I go, no. They go, okay, so you have to get up and go to the bathroom. It's the next day. And they go, but you can't use your stomach muscles because you're slit, and you can't
Oh,
use your arms. I'm like, well, the fuck? But I did
how
it.
do you
And
do
they said,
this?
if you're going to be
Okay.
alone, you have to learn how to do it. And I did it. And it gave me, I tell you what, I took Tylenol, and I was fucking fine. And I will say, it took me, you can't drive for 7 weeks. They weren't shitting. I spent 5 days at UCLA, and then I came home, and I spent 6 weeks in bed. And the nurse was so fucking cool.
Wow.
She was supposed to come 1 or 2 days a week. She came every day because she's like, you're alone. This is a massive operation. And she'd bring her daughter. I'm like, bring your daughter, and she can play with the cats. She cleaned my wounds, and there were many. I got kicked off of Instagram because I was showing them. I try to educate people before, during, and after cancer. So before, great tits, they were real. Here we are afterwards. Thank God I took some pics because I didn't have any. And did you do Playboy?
No, I didn't do Playboy,
Okay,
but I've
good.
got I've
Because
got
I was
titty
offered
pics.
Playboy, and like a fucking asshole, I said no 4 years in a row because I would have had something to show, but I have a couple of titty pics, right? So anyway, so I put the titty pics, and then before, and then during was all sliced up like a Christmas turkey. And then after, I'm bald, and the healing, I got kicked off, and they were like, oh God. Recently, this surgery, I realized why. I was showing the incisions. One stitch must have, I don't know what happened, but I realized the photo. I was like, why the fuck would they kick me off? These are just medical pictures. There's no nipples. There's nothing. And then I saw the photo, and it resembled something very sexual. And I was like, oh, they thought it was a vagina. They thought I was showing my
Oh.
vagina. And it was actually my
Oh.
my my wound. Yeah. So I got that fixed. I went back to the doctor. I'm like,
Oh.
apparently this looks like a vagina. So they fixed it.
Apparently.
And I'm like, I've got two. Yeah, it was fucking crazy. But I'm healing, and I'm doing really, really well. And now they said to me, okay, part 3. And I'm like, there's a third part to this bullshit. And they go, yeah, it's 3D nipples. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that. And then they were showing me some, and I was
Oh.
like, ooh, yes. So they will actually tattoo them. And I saw some of this person's work, and you don't have to pay for it. It's insurance. Her work is phenomenal. I was like, this is a Jedi mind fuck, because it seems like they would be out, like they're 3D. But when you touch, it's
3D
smooth. It's like,
ink, 3D
yes.
printing.
No.
Okay.
Well, there's another
Like they make
form.
little nipples in the
They can, in surgery, leave, like, I think it's like a puckered thing or something, and then tattoo around it. I was like, I'm not going through all that bullshit. I'm very lazy. Very
No.
lazy.
Yeah.
I loved when I was bald. I was like, yeehaw, motherfucker, because you're just free. You don't have to worry about anything. It was nice not to. I didn't wear makeup for 4 years. I'm still not really wearing, and it's like nice after all that time in television, and you know what that's like, where it's like powder, Let the
Yeah.
skin
It's
breathe.
nice to just be natural. Wait, let me ask, so are your tits like the best they've ever
Oh
looked right
God,
now?
no, no, no. It's a shit show. It's a carnival
Oh, no.
act.
Oh,
But
oh,
I'm still in the
oh,
process
okay.
because they took out the implants and did this. It's called the deep flap. It's DIEP. And when you look it up, they brought it up so casually. They're like, yeah, we'll just take out, it's a hardened implant. It went all the way up under my collarbone. It was fucking disgusting. And because it migrates, it changes shape. It's a shit show. So I'm like, yeah, get rid of it. They're like, yeah, it's a deep flap. No big deal. Oh my goodness. It was something, but I'll tell you, I'm so happy I have it because it's my
Big deal.
own
Yeah.
body. Um, they're the perfect shape, but a deep flap surgery, it's not what you think, like, oh, they cut under. Like it's not a breast enhancement surgery by any means. So there's a V cut on one side and a circle on the other. It will go away after time. He's like, you can do lasering on the, it's a bizarre thing, but I'd much rather that than what I had,
Right.
obviously. And I'm still thinking about the 3D. I don't know. They called me yesterday, and I don't know there. I'm not here. I'm not there yet. And I also think, like, isn't that just for like if you're dating? And my girlfriend's like, no, it's self-esteem. It's just sort of like looking in the mirror and saying, okay. And they'll look at your, you can pick exactly, color and stuff. Go with what you had, and they'll do
Yeah.
it perfectly. And it's just about looking in the mirror before you're putting your bra on. It's not about dating a dude and impressing him. It's about you getting back to
Feeling good.
who you are. Yeah.
Feeling normalized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely get my nipples smaller than what they are now.
Yeah.
Mine will be small,
Yeah.
but I feel like I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss my nipples. I mean, I don't mean to be a pervert.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
I
them.
used to say, I get it. I get it. Mine were so nice. And I'm like, now they're in a fucking landfill somewhere. Oh well, but at least I'm alive, and it's like you take the good with the bad. And you've like
Yeah.
you're like embracing, like, you're so fucking cute with your short hair. First of all, when I saw the whole story, I'm like, oh my God, I got to reach out to Nicole, because anyone who goes through it, we just speak the same language. And when you messaged me yesterday, I was like, I was going to ask you what kind of chemo. And then I was like, I didn't even I remember they brought this one in. It was like, it's in a paper bag. And I'm like, oh, what is this? Cocaine, heroin? What are we doing here? It's the red devil. The red
Yeah.
devil. What
The
the fuck? They're like, oh, you're going to be so
devil.
sick on the red devil. And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, well, bring it on. Okay. And I watched Game of Thrones. I felt nothing. I was fine. And then they brought the other one in. I wasn't on that other. There's one that makes people. It's the T one. I can't think of the name. But then they go, like, people are hilarious. So like, oh yeah, back. It's gonna be great, because they go, how old are you? I go 52 or 53 at the time. You're gonna be great. And it grew back as black as this cap. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And curly AF. And I was like,
Ah,
oh my God, like I look like Angela
little gift.
Davis. It was big and fabulous. And so I'm just so happy where I am in life. And I feel that you've got such you remind me of me, in the sense of your attitude, the way you're approaching it. You're gonna get, the other side is gonna be right there. Did they tell you how long your treatment's gonna be? Cycle.
I do 8 treatments. This is the plan. This is the best case scenario, is that I treatments which would last over span over 6 months, because I get it once every 3 weeks.
Okay, so I had 9 treatments, same thing. Then radiation. So mine spanned, the whole thing was like 7 months, almost 8. And I guess, did you do the port?
I got my port.
Oh, they put it
See pressure.
there. Interesting. Cedars put
It's right
mine.
here. Mine's right here, and then the other. Oh, I have it here, and then the other part where it goes into the jugular is right here. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. You've got such a good attitude. Your attitude was mine, and I'm telling you, it gets you through. Also, I was in such deep shit financially. I think that took over all of my thinking. I was like, yeah, cancer. When's the chemo? Okay, yeah, Friday, I'll be there. Oh! And then I'm like, IRS.
Yeah.
And I'm selling my house and changing my kid's life. And, it almost, cancer was so on the back burner when people were like, what? Oh my God, poor her. Like, she's having a break. I was like, I was like, yeah, cancer has nothing to do with it. It was losing
No, it's your
everything. And
financials. Yeah.
yeah, but it's also been not the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because let me tell you, I mean, it was great when you're making money, but I would have liked to have been told, perhaps, hey, asshole, you owe the IRS 50 grand. I said, what the fuck? Why wait? How come 750 was the time? I'm gonna wait till she's at
Yeah.
750. And by the way, IRS, they don't fuck around. They put on penalties. So I ended up paying 1.2 cash. Bye. I lost my entire IRA, my whole future gone, whatever. But my attitude is I could pull a Pamela Anderson and move back to Canada eventually if when the kids grow, because my pension is worth more up there. You get it's just a better lifestyle. It's almost double in some cases. So I've thought about it, and it has made me realize that I'm a strong bitch. Like, it's not about the Louboutin shoe. I sold everything except for a couple very
Yeah.
meaningful things for my daughter. I sold it
Same.
all, right? And you're just okay. I get
Yeah.
by what I need.
You don't care. Yeah. Yeah, you could have all
Health
these things. I could have
overwhelm.
my Rolex collection, and trying to find a place to sleep at night, or you sell it, and everybody's fed and happy and clothed. And a
100%.
lot of people will say to me like, "Oh, you should downsize." I can't downsize anymore in LA County because my daughter is 12 years old. She's in the throes of middle school, junior high school. There's no like tearing her away from all of her friends
No,
and anything that's stable in her life during
no,
a cancer battle for her mother.
I do.
It's not
I
that
get
simple.
it.
I'm as downsized
I
as I could get.
totally,
Just astronomical to live out here, but I can't rip that away from my kid.
I know.
Those people
I
that keep
totally
saying,
get you. Yeah, I'm with you. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I love you. You are the best. And Dave, you're awesome because you're so mellow.
It was great meeting you. It was great meeting you.
You as well, Dave.
yeah, I look up to you so much because you and Kristen Dahlgren, I don't know if you know her or not. You are my two that I go to because you didn't get sick, positive attitude. You're doing great. She had the D flap too. And because so many people come on and one negative comment will bring you down and put you back into that downward spiral. But then I always go back to you and Carrie Haim, who had a good experience through it all. And I check back in and I say, hey, remind me. So I really thank you a lot for the positive,
Oh, honey,
influence.
I can't. You are going to be absolutely incredible on the other side, and you will get there because your attitude during it is really truly half the battle. And having loved ones around you, like I see your kitty cat. I've got two kitty cats. It's the little things that just the comfort, the joys, of course, children, um, and realizing what's important in life. It's not getting that next TV show or being the thinnest you can be or the hottest you and I have done all those parties and been there, done that.
No.
And it's wonderful. And I'm so grateful. But the truth about life is just every single day staying in the moment, like what's happening right now. We're all together and it's fucking awesome. And next I'll go where I'm going, and I'll see Heather, and we'll be fun. And then I pick up my daughter from school. I try to stay mentally in the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, I adore you. I
I
adore you,
adore
and
you.
I'm
Same.
so proud of you. You're going to get through it. It's going to be on the other side, and I can't wait to take the journey with you. And I'm always here, a phone call away. Dave, same. And it won't take 36 years for me to get back to you. I promise.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Take care,
All
Jillian.
right, guys.
All right.
Much love
Bye
to you
Bye.
both.
bye. You
You
too.
Bye,
too.
guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Hey, Nicole, I want to get to today's mailbag. Again, if you have a question for Nicole, you want to ask her a question, all you have to do is go to the website, perfectlytwistedpod.com. You'll see the daily mailbag right at the top. And he asked Nicole a question, and we're trying to get to as many as we can. So please be patient. Even if you don't hear it on this episode, doesn't mean we aren't going to get to your questions in a future episode. But always interesting to me when people are able to ask you questions and fire off on what your interests are. And this week we have some where people have obviously listened to the show and see what direction your life is going. So the questions are appropriate. So Nicole, I want to start with Amy Gibson, who this week wrote, Nicole, can you tell us more about the steps you and your daughters take in being green, specifically in fashion and beauty products? I'm new to this and would appreciate all suggestions.
Yes, great question. Love this question. So as far as clothing goes, we buy a lot of secondhand. Um, Do you think my shirt was secondhand?
There
I paid more for the wear and tear.
you go.
Um, no, it's funny when I bought this shirt, the owner of a man and a woman owned the store that I bought this in, and the woman said, "Oh my God, I didn't know we had that. If we had that, I would have pulled it." It's Maui and Sons. It's an old Maui and Sons.
I like
She's
it.
like, "Oh, you got so lucky you found that." So, we buy a lot of secondhand. We love thrifting. We make a thing of it. Also, a lot of people might not know, but H&M has a line. It's more like sweats and t-shirts and stuff like that, like loungewear, but it's very cute and it's all 100% recycled cottons. So you can go into H&M and bring clothing that you're getting rid of, and they will credit you 15% off in their store. And then there is a whole entire section of clothing that they use. Most of their clothing is used from recycled fabrics, but there's one that's 100%. They have its own little department. So you just look for companies that do that. And, you know, it can be fun too. It's actually more fun than going into department stores and stuff like that. We make a thing of it, and you find your favorite little spots, and it's hit or miss. But when you find great things, it's super rewarding because if you go into a department store or a boutique, you're always going to find stuff you love, and usually it's like all the things you want is unaffordable and out of your budget, and you have to like choose down. But when you do thrifting, it's like you find stuff, you get super excited about it. It's like, I got this, it was so great, and it was a deal, and you're giving back. So there's so many good things, so rewarding in so many ways. And with products, many more companies are conscious of it. And I talked about the company Lush Cosmetics on the last episode, and they're somebody who they don't even put like chemical preservatives in it. It is all natural. So they're a great alternative to drugstore and department store brands. But like I said, a lot of them are doing clean makeup. If you go into a Sephora and you ask, because it can be overwhelming, at least for me, they'll direct you. And there's a lot of companies doing very clean vegan makeup, and luckily our options are growing out there, so it's not as hard as it used to be. We use bamboo toothbrushes, things like that. Super simple. You can find them anywhere. You can find them really cheap at stores like Marshall's, TJ Maxx, where they were originally priced at $15. You can get them for $3. Our dental floss, those anything little plastic, you got to look for. They have bio-friendly flosses. We reuse containers. We have reusable bags. What's a big one is reusable produce bags, because those plastic bags are just as bad. You just start to get more conscious of it. Shampoo now, not that plastic bottle. Dry wash your sheets instead of buying a big thing of detergent. Also, there's a company called Blue Land, and there's a lot of companies out there where you buy like a glass hand dispenser, and then you buy pellets of soap. So you just refill this bottle instead of getting a new plastic bottle every time. It's little things like that make a huge difference. Like I use Swedish hand towels, which are like paper towels, but you reuse them and you can throw them into the washing machine and use them again. So they're like always around. So you're not like going through hundreds of paper towels. And plastic containers instead of like Ziplocs and tinfoil and saran wrap. Just all those little things. Start small so you don't get overwhelmed, and pretty quickly you'll see how easy it is to adapt.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right, next question from Amy. Do you believe in auras?
Oh, I do. I definitely believe what energy you put out there is what you give back. And if anybody tells me they can't feel that, I think that they're lying, because if you go out and you're in a bad mood, don't you hit every red light? Doesn't your sleeve constantly get caught on the doorknob of something, or you're hurting yourself or dropping shit? People are being rude to you. And it means that you don't give a fuck about anything, and you're out just enjoying your day and driving. You hit all the green lights, you get perfect parking, there are no lines, people are saying hi. Like, I feel it big firsthand. So I do believe in what you put out there is what you get back. And I know that auras might go a little bit deeper than I have gotten into it, but I just know what you project is what you're going to get back. And I think that that's huge. I think that that's huge in in life, and a lot of people don't really realize that. But
You know what?
you
So
know,
here's the funny thing. We just mentioned the red lights. Whenever I have to be somewhere, like I'm running late and I got to get there, I hit every fucking red light. But then at the same time, if I'm driving somewhere and I'm not in a hurry and I drop something on the floor that I'm worried about, like going under the brake that's going to keep me from stopping the car, like it would be nice to get a red light once in a while to get that out from under my feet. I hit every fucking green light. Like
yeah.
this is the one time I need a red light. Can I get a red light? Can't get, get a red light. Maybe I should just mix and match. Just whenever I'm in a hurry, just throw something underneath the guiding pedals, and
You
then
hit every green light.
hit every green light. I have no idea what the hell's going on, but I can't ever catch a break. It drives me crazy. The time I literally need to stop, I always get every green light. That's funny as could be. It says, Nicole, are you naturally good at cooking, or is it something that took experience?
Both, I think, because I didn't take any cooking classes and I haven't been trained in any way, and God knows my mother was no teacher. Um, so I started cooking simply out of my love for food, and then having a child who, um, my oldest had quite the palate and wanted quite the meals a lot, and I thought, I can't afford this kid. People talk about kids being expensive. Does every kid ask for filet mignon and lobster and oysters and sushi like 5 days a week? I take my kids to say, well, do you want to get like a In and Out or like a like a drive through thing? And they look at me like I'm
Oh, that's
punishing
funny.
them. So I think it was out of necessity more so than anything.
Oh, that's good. That's funny. I like this question. Nicole, how did you choose your daughter's names? By the way, they both have really great names.
Oh, thank you. Um, okay. So my oldest daughter, this might sound weird, but this is the truth. My oldest daughter, her father was dating a girl and her name was Michael. And I was like, that is so cute. And she was so cute. And I thought that's adorable. So I was like, but I had always loved the name Dylan. Dylan was like, I love Bob Dylan. So I really liked the name Dylan. And then I thought, well, I'll use it either way, if it's a girl or a boy.
Yeah.
And so I named her Dylan. And then I spelt it a little more feminine. I spelt it differently. And I was very happy with her name. And then when I had Keegan, it was really funny because I thought, well, I can't name her with something really girly, because if I name her something really, they're going to think I have a son and a daughter. You know what I mean? If
Oh,
I
that's
say
funny. Yeah.
Dylan and Sarah, they're going to be like, oh my God, you have a
Yeah.
boy and a girl. No. Um, and so I was struggling. I was struggling with that one. And I didn't even, it's been brought to my attention so many times. I'm like, oh, so you're Irish. I'm like, oh shit. No, we're not. We're not. I don't think we are. Um, but I love the name Keegan.
I
So
love it
it
too.
was,
Great name.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was between that and my chemo brain is killing me. And with the other one, there's a country and western singer. He has the name Trace. Trace. It was between
Yeah.
Trace and Keegan. And I didn't want to do Trace as a female because I thought people would say Tracy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, Keegan's it. Keegan's cute. That's adorable. And then they're both, names that could go either way, Dylan and
I like
Keegan.
it.
So yeah, they go well
Pretty good.
together. So that's
No,
it.
you did
And it
good.
also had to go well with the Elizabeth, because my entire family was named after the King and the Queen of London. My mother was Georgina Elizabeth, and the Elizabeth runs through thick. And I get the side eye if I even question changing it. So it has to be somebody. It also has to be a name that goes well with Elizabeth, which is no easy feat to find. So and so their initials also are KEE and DEE. So it's cute.
It
It's
is.
just
That's
yeah,
cool.
it all worked
There you
out.
go. All right. Says Nicole, in one of your podcasts, you mentioned fashion trends. What do you think is the worst hair trend?
Oh, oh. I know that Miley Cyrus is rocking it right now. And I can appreciate it on her, but when you start seeing it in the streets and on daily wear, it's the big, puffy, sprayed out, teased hair. Like, I look at it and it hurts me because I know that hair is suffering, and I'm thinking of all the breakage and the damage it's causing and all that hairspray and the ozone and in your lungs. So I think like the big hair for me,
Yeah.
if you have to pull a comb to it and brush it and spray it. It's bad, bad, bad. And listen, we were all guilty of it at some point. I don't think I did it too much, but that big feathered hair, big do is, I think that's the worst. That put those on with the mom jeans, mom jeans and big hair. Oh my God. Yeah, that's it.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
it for
that
me.
is funny. Amy, great questions right there. Again,
Yeah,
it's
thank
very
you, Amy.
simple. All you have to do is go to the website, perfectlytwistedpod.com, see the daily mailbag right there, and then you ask Nicole a question. We'll get on there as quick as we can. But I appreciate everyone that's contributing. I always love it when to see them when the questions come in and having a chance to answer questions that you don't have an idea of what they're about to say to you. So pretty cool moment.
Yeah, I
But,
love that. Love that. Keep those
yeah.
questions coming. And thanks for listening. And everybody, you have a fabulous day.